I'm here with Dr. Million Belay, who's a brother, friend, colleague, but also a very big thought leader on the African continent, because he leads one of the biggest, actually the biggest network of networks that works with small family farmers and farmer groups on the African continent, the Alliance for Food Sovereignty in Africa. He is the coordinator. And he also started Melka, an organization that is in Ethiopia. So at this point, I guess it doesn't really matter where he comes from because he represents all of us on the continent. But he was originally born and he's from Ethiopia, but he's all over Africa. And we're so grateful to have you, Dr. Million, on the platform today. We really look forward to just harvesting and gleaning from your wisdom.
Thanks for having me, Precious. And I do also admire the work that you do in the leadership that you are showing. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so Dr. Million, I know you're very busy and packed up with, with activities. So thanks for the opportunity to just come and meet the world through this Zoom platform. Um, I would like to just invite you to give us a bit of the work that you have been doing with AFSA. I know it's quite broad, but just a broad leaf of who AFSA is and what they do. By the way, AFSA is short for Alliance for Food Sovereignty in Africa, and they are also friends of Regeneration International. And we've made lots of good friends and connections and collaboratives through the Healthy Soil, Healthy Food Initiative and the Climate Change Initiative. So I'm just inviting you to just share who AFSA is, and then we will dive into other movement issues as we progress.
Yeah. Well, as you described AFSA when you started, Precious, AFSA is a network of networks. We have networks of farmers, fisher folks, pastoralists, indigenous peoples, women networks, youth networks, faith-based institutions, consumer networks, and the bigger civil society as a members of AFSA. We are the largest network in Africa. The reason that we started AFSA, we conceived AFSA in 2008, is, Precious goes to one international meeting representing one institution. I go somewhere to represent one, and my friends, my colleagues will go somewhere. So we are all representing, yes, some parts of our institutional vision, but not a collected or a collective one created enough to have a lot of dialogues, but one in loud voice as Africa. So we just decided to do our own research, our own analysis. We want to make our own connection, and we want to bring the voice of everyone in AFSA and have one clear and loud voice. That's why we started AFSA. And hopefully, from the statements that we produce and the work that we do, we are reaching there. It has a very thin secretariat for the single purpose of participating the members as much as possible. Our central work is to contribute to the transition or the transformation of African agriculture from where it is now to agroecology or to a healthy and sustainable food system. We do that through doing our own research or knowledge mobilization based on the research that we do and also the research that others do all over the world. We do advocacy. We also work to mobilize communities, all over Africa. We try to change the narrative through communication. I'm sure you get our communications, and we also try to scale up as much as possible the great work that is being done. You've mentioned the Healthy Soil and Healthy Food Initiative. I think there are a lot of actors doing so many great things. So our purpose is to connect all these actors and create an overarching narrative on agroecology and scale that up. So scaling up would be also one of the things. And also we are trying to mobilize finance, financing for agroecology as much as possible. So we are separated into 4 working groups. There are groups working on land and agroecology issues, including the healthy and healthy food and land rights for women. And there are groups who are working on seed issues, and farmers management system and fighting with the appropriation of our seeds through mechanisms like genetically modified organisms and gene edited crops and all that. And there are groups who are working on integrating agroecology into climate policy spaces. And there are groups who are working on citizens, agroecological entrepreneurship, territorial markets. My Food is African campaign, as you all know. And quite recently, we have started to work also in Congo Basin, in the 6 countries in the Congo Basin. That's a very, very critical part of the country, but the civil societies are not included. Farmers are not included, and indigenous people are not included in the decision of that part of the world. That people are focusing mainly on the conservation side of it, on the climate change. So, in short, this is what we are doing. On one hand, we fight. On the other hand, we propose solutions, more and more. So that's what AFSA is doing.
That's so cool. At Regeneration International once had a hashtag resist and regenerate,
Mm.
to say even farmers can be part of advocacy by resisting industrious or green revolution solutions, but also still implement agroecology, permaculture, holistic management, all those things that regenerate life back to the land.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really nice. Thank you for that history and a bit of the backdrop. So I know that there's lots of movement towards influencing the policy spaces. How are you finding the progress going? It's probably a long shot, but I don't know, how do you feel? And we've been reading quite very good articles of yours, and I think we'll make it aim to share as much as we can of what you write, because it's also enriching to the movement.
Yeah. This continent, maybe the whole world, I don't know, but we feel it in this continent. We live in two competing paradigms,
Yeah.
competing worldviews of what the food system in Africa should be. It seems on the surface that we are all heading to one direction, the healthy, resilient, sustainable food systems for Africa, um, based on the wisdom of the people. Now, I'm adding that, that's our view, based on the cultural and the long-term wisdom of our people. That's what we want. But at least what they are saying is, they want a sustainable, resilient Africa. So probably there might be an agreement there. But how we go there is a battlefront, They are saying that, the major purpose of African agriculture should be increasing productivity. So for you to do that, they say in a sustainable way. How that comes, only God knows. Um, so they say that Africans have to, or Africans as a country have to open its door to business. So the recent direction of the bigger policy for Africa, which commonly called the Malabo Agenda, now it's going to be a Kampala Declaration, whatever, which represents, the direction of some of our actors, maybe the governments in few months' time for African food system or for African agriculture. And that's a collective, their collective wisdom is that document. So that document, uh, um, the idea that's guiding that document, the thinking that is guiding that document or policy is Africa should open its door to business. Africans cannot produce without agrochemicals. Um, Africans cannot produce enough food with the seeds that they have. So we need to bring in, GMOs, genetic crops, and hybrid seeds. The knowledge of Africans is, not scientific, is backward. I mean, there might be some ideas, but that can be integrated into science. And also, the whole thing should be market led. So if you have money in your pocket, you can buy any kind of food. So we need to focus on few crops, value crops, and these crops should be produced in abundance. And you can convert these crops into so many things that you want. So value addition, then Africa will be happy and sustainable and whatever. That is the view, the world view. What we are saying that is no, no, no. Already we are in a crisis. We are in a hunger crisis. We are in a cultural crisis because the culture there is a lot of cultural erosion. There is a lot of seed erosion. In a health crisis, the non-communicable diseases, including diabetes and heart disease, is rising in Africa. It is skyrocketing. So we are in a problem. And our environment is a problem. We have a global environment crisis of climate crisis, biodiversity crisis, pollution crisis, land degradation crisis, yeah? Human rights crisis, the right to food, it's a crisis. So our response, whatever strategies that we have should respond to this crisis. And for us, a food system based on agroecology and food sovereignty ticks so many of the boxes. It increases productivity, responds to nutrition and health crisis. It's good for our biosphere. Culturally appropriate food is very, very critical. In Africa, we produce, an array of food, based on the wisdom of our people. Keeping that is very, very much important. Yes, market is important, but the agroecological markets, the healthy food produced, and we can add value on this healthy food produced, and thousands of examples all over Africa. We had an agroecological entrepreneurship meeting, like a summit in Zimbabwe, in Harare, quite recently. And there was a Zimbabwe seed festival, a Zimbabwe food festival. All that is demonstrating is we have a solution here, the cultural appropriate food. So this is our vision. But quite recently, we took this vision, this dream of Africa into bigger policy space, the post-Malabo process. We were ignored. We have the document now, it just ignored us. So in terms of analysis of the current system, what is exciting me now is a number of civil society groups, number of governments actually, international research institutes, international actors, number of funding organizations, UN bodies, all are saying that now agroecology is a way. All, increasingly. And regeneration, everybody's talking about regenerative. So, but a group of actors, very powerful in terms of, they reach to our policymakers. Powerful because they have a lots of resources. You know what? The sad fact of that, Precious, is that our governments are strapped through debt.
Yeah.
They're handed tied through debt.
Yeah.
So when you don't have money, anybody who is coming with a lot of money is your friend. So Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and a number of other governments are coming with a lot of money to cash strapped, to resource poor countries, and they are saying that we have all this money and this is the direction that you should go, and they say yeah, even though a number of the experts say that no, 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 we have to We have to follow agroecology. So that's where we are, Precious. Sorry for
So,
my long-winded explanation.
no, beautiful explanation, to be fair. And as you were talking, there's a word that you said that we're already in a mess. Earlier this week, I had a chat with a man named Dr. Daniel Christian Val. He's into regenerative thinking and these thinking processes. He says, we should stop acting like we are going towards trouble. We are literally in a Titanic that has hit the iceberg.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Our
exactly.
thinking process is that the one that you've just said, that we are already in deep, 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 deep ends with the crisis. And
Yeah,
it does feel like as soon as money comes, because I believe
yeah,
even in governments, Million, there are people who are aware of how important this agroecology is. But as soon
yeah,
as money walks through the door, everyone sticks their heads in the sand. Um, which is the importance of now movement building, because it's practice, science,
mm,
information, activation, and now
mm,
even getting in funders on board. I feel like
yeah.
as much as we can, and as much as you guys are doing, which is quite powerful to have all the grassroots, I think eventually the voices of the people will shift the direction of the policy spaces. And
Yeah.
you and AFSA and everybody, we are all trying to take these voices in, but now we are doing big bites because it's bigger people and bigger voices. Um, so is it right for me to say, I think we are even saying we need to change the trajectory of thinking about business?
That's why we have started in AFSA,
Yeah,
focusing on agroecological entrepreneurship also. So when we talked about business in our members, we said, what are you talking about? We're fighting, these big business conglomerates, but now you are talking about business. No, 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 no. What we are saying is we have to ask the big question: how can we use the forces of the market, yeah, to transition to agroecology? It's a very, very powerful force. And our people were trading for thousands of years in agroecological products. And how can we produce agroecologically? The real focus now is on production, but there is consumption. So what I'm saying is that AFSA has asked the question, how can we use the forces of the market to help us transition to agroecology. So the focus was mainly on production only, agroecological production. But now we have to think of the consumers. And in between them is a process, between them, it is a lot of things that are happening in the harvesting, in the processing, in the packaging, in the marketing, and also in the context of Africa. There are a lot of youth who have no jobs now, but there is plenty of job in production and consumption. So how can we support this job creation? You know, and also the eating of healthy, nutritious, um, and culturally appropriate food, which is produced without impacting the environment. So how do we do that? So, so we started this project and we did some research. Is there any agroecological entrepreneurship in Africa? So we found out that there is quite a lot. The research was done in 27 African countries. So we brought them in 2022, all these entrepreneurs, and again now in 2024 in Harare, in your country. So the learning from that is there are plenty of them out there. And there is a huge opportunity out there for agroecological producers to be actually incentivized to produce agroecologically because there are more and more consumers who want agroecological products. And in between them, there can be a lot of value addition by thousands of youth. So we can create job for the youth. So this is a new an interesting field. And in relation to that is also there are these markets, which we call territorial markets all over Africa, which are closer to people. And territorial markets in the idea of food sovereignty are very much in tandem because they are closer to people. There are cultural places, social places, and environmental places. And the IPS Food has did this study and used the study of HAFSA. And now the territorial markets are considered as one of the spaces where people, can be in control of the economy, their own economy, where we can go also contribute to the discussion and around how we can actually be out of this industrial food system, industrial control of the food system in general. So, so this is a new field. This is a growing field, and we are trying to support as many entrepreneurs as possible, so that we create jobs and then we improve environment and we make sure that our consumers eat healthy and culturally appropriate food produced without impacting the environment.
That's quite incredible. And honestly, bringing the economic piece is fulfilling all the fundamental pieces, right? It's culturally appropriate, improves livelihoods, and the ecology is left at a much better place. Um,
Yeah.
and that's probably one of the biggest threats to the fake promises of the industrial agriculture. Because once we embrace that, even cash crops, they'll be different in each region. This thing of trying to push one cash crop across the diverse landscapes, it has really left most of our communities even more impoverished than we needed to be. So that's quite eye-opening. And I am sure that you are also advocating for farmer-based research, because I feel like farmers are the same scientists again. Once they have all this proof, one day someone will buy the story very full from a researcher who is also a farmer, showing how much soil has improved on their landscape, going out to the consumers. We sell to consumers not only the food, but the value that it also brings to community and the civilizations and the future of human beings. So,
I'm sure you have gone to the Seed and Food Festival in Harare.
lots of times, and every year we take farmers, and this year we even added youths. So for every 5 elderly farmers, there's 5 youths as well. Yeah.
Excellent work. And you have seen the diversity in seed, the diversity. And now, as we speak in Tanzania, there is a big farmer seed fair. And in Ethiopia, I organized a number of seed fairs. And all over Africa, this is happening. Where did all these seeds come from? It's not from research centers.
No,
It's from the farmers.
from the people.
It's from the farmers.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are we talking about when you talk about research?
Yeah.
Or farmers doing research and whatever? Who has brought all those seeds? Who has brought all the diversity of foods? It's years of experiment, years of sharing,
Yes.
years of co-learning. You see, that's what our farmers did. But we are not rejecting science. We're not rejecting science. So the conventional breeders, what they do is also important.
Yes.
So, but what we are saying is these two knowledge systems have to converse. They have to talk. It's not integrating farmers' knowledge into the system. That's not the talk should be. It's both of them coming through participatory breeding, participatory research,
There's
farmers
no
led
one
research.
swallowing anyone.
Yeah. No epistemology, no knowledge system
Yeah.
being superior
Yes.
than the others. So they should come respectfully and they should converse and we should move forward. That's why we say that agroecology is science, practice, and social movement. That's why science, a number of social and environmental and breeding sciences coming together. That's what the beauty of agroecology is. We're not rejecting science. We're not rejecting technology, you know? But what kind of technology, in whose control, and to what purpose? I think that the decolonization, that the idea of colonization should come in here also. Some people say that, oh, colonialism, the colonialists are gone. And for, the 60s already, 60, 70 years based on the country. No, it's here. We're
No, the
living it.
traces remain.
No, no,
Yeah.
it's not even the traces, In a big way, it is
The
here.
whole thing is still here
We
because,
recognize it.
yes.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think you always say this notion that the African way of producing food will leave Africa more impoverished. Like there's a lesser eye or view to the way that we do our things, we grow our food. So that's still very colonialistic, and lots of
No,
import
no, no, yeah, yeah.
of solutions that will not
Yeah,
even, yeah.
yes, exactly, exactly. I think most of our life is still controlled by colonialists. Even this, our relationship with our NGO actors,
Mm-hmm.
with our civil society from out of the continent.
Oh,
That's a colonial thing in it also. We have to decolonize our relationship also somehow.
it's
That's very much important.
it's
I think they
one
are
so it's one sore area in the continent. I think the more
yeah,
you work with a small grassroots organization, I'll speak from even a personal standpoint, there's a big problem in there. So I think it's one of the very big,
yeah, no, no.
yeah. And some
Even
solutions
the science
shocking,
should to
even
be
some foods
decolonized.
that are brought to communities. Shocking for food
Yeah.
security.
No, there are so many things to decolonize. The good thing is that I'm interacting with a number of European civil society and NGOs, and
Mhm.
they are thinking about this decolonizing thing, decolonizing our relationship. And we need to assist that decolonization process. We have to be open. There is a kind of fear among African civil society that if we speak up, then we can disappoint them in whatever, what about all the resources that are coming. But we need to be open about that. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much for this fireful dialogue. And I feel like we really did cut across the whole spectrum. Do you have any special message? Because this is a World Food Day undertaking. What's a special message to the comrades on the ground in Africa and the comrades outside Africa? How can we all work together?
Yeah. I think we are in the same boat in so many ways. And the wisdom of our farmers, the wisdom of the fisher folks and the pastoralists and the indigenous peoples, even the faith-based industries is very, very much important. We have to open our heart, what we think in our mind is not enough. Our spirituality, African spirituality, should also guide us as much as possible. So I'm very, very happy as I speak that we have the solution. There are so many solutions, and we can explore more solutions. You see, so we don't need outside actors to come and tell us how we can lead our life, huh? How we can lead our agriculture, anything. We have the solutions. So let's work together. Let's work together. That's my solution. Oh, my mistake. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Million. This was so amazing. Look forward to airing it out, and thank you for making time. I know how much it cost you to sit for these few minutes, and all the
No,
best
no,
with
no,
all
no.
your
This
meetings as well. Yeah, no, thank you. I truly appreciate.